Welcome to the GCNTech show.
Coming up this week, we have an out-of-this-world aerodynamic Olympic bike, custom heat moldable saddles, as well as a power meter with built-in location tracking, plus, of course, comments of the week and the bike vault.
Yeah, and this week's main talking point, we're talking about carbon fiber bikes and why they're so important to the cycling industry. All this to come.
So this week we are discussing why carbon fibre is so important to the cycle industry, and I think it's really helped turn bikes from something looking like this to something like this.
Yeah, if you think about it, like every new bike is carbon.
Yeah.
And pros only ride carbon bikes, except I guess one team that I raced with, Madison Genesis, who were actually on steel bikes. But nevertheless, it's pretty much all carbon. Look, think about it. You got saddle, seat post, frame, bars. You could get carbon cranks,
spokes, wheels,
handlebars, shoes. I mean, it's carbon everything.
That is true. Although carbon fibre does have its limitations, and there are certain parts that are still made from a traditional sort of like metal material. So we've got chains, cassettes, bolts, and other bits and pieces on your bike. And as I said, that's because carbon has its limitations in terms of material. But we are also seeing some brands try to mould carbon fibre threads into frames, which I think fills me with fear slightly, and I hope doesn't become mainstream.
Because it seems like carbon fibre can crack, and you wouldn't want threads to crack, right?
Well, yeah, there's lots of things different. Well, as I said, limitations to it. But anyway, the first thing we need to discuss, I presume, is what actually is carbon fibre. So for people that aren't aware of it, it's a composite material, which means it's made up of two different elements or components to it. So you've got a glue or a resin, and then you also have the actual fibres of carbon fibres. And then you combine the two together, you mould them into a shape, the resin or glue cures, and it holds the shape that you formed it into.
Easy and simple as that. I feel like a carbon fibre genius already. The key is that one on their own is basically a useless product, all right? Until you put them together, which creates that wonder material. And it's basically like a piece of rope. If you imagine a piece of rope is only good in one direction, it's only strong in that direction. As soon as you break it, it becomes loose and nimble. Now, it's the similar thing with carbon fiber. On its own, the carbon fiber sheeting isn't that strong, but then you put the glue and resin together, you heat it, you mold it, and it creates this incredibly light and incredibly tough and strong material. And that's how you get this amazing wonder material, right?
That is so true, yeah. I mean, the aerospace industry loves it. Motorsport industry loves it. Cycling industry also loves it. I think the reasons for this, you need to look at what some of the properties of the material are. So it allows bikes to be lighter. It allows them to be strong in certain areas. It allows them to be flexible in some areas. And it means you can make shapes which previously would have been impossible to make when using, say, round metal tubes. Now, in terms of what it allows designers to do, well, they can go crazy with lots of different shapes, and it has allowed manufacturers to make bikes which are lighter than older bikes. They're far more aerodynamic than lighter bikes, and it allows you to really cover that middle ground of a bit of a lightweight bike and a bit of an aero bike, which I think is really good.
I think that's exactly how they've been able to really push the limits of the design up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing to be aware of, though, is there's one governing body that is, I guess, stalling progression.
Yeah.
And stalling what carbon fibre is really capable of, right? And how light and how strong you can get it in different shapes. And that is, of course, the UCI. Now, they're trying to cut that balance between holding on to cycle tradition, but also allowing the bike designers to innovate and to get faster and to increase speed and hopefully make our racing even more exciting. And that is where it gets even more murky.
It does. Well, so I suppose the UCI is trying to stop races turning into people just riding around on bikes, which look like spaceships
or
on
Tron
wheels.
bikes.
Yeah.
You know, like Cy did with a mullet a few years back.
Which I think is part of me thinks that that's a real shame, that it's almost stifling progression, because I personally want to see technology pushed to its absolute limits. I think carbon fibre could go way further than where it is at the moment. And then if you think along the lines of, say, Well, Formula One industry. So they are creating race cars which are pushing the boundaries of everything that's possible.
But they've still got regulations with the FIA.
They have regulations, but...
And they're clean-cut regulations.
Yeah, but the thing that... the crux of the thing I want to get at here, Formula One, you've got manufacturer teams. You've got like Ferrari, you've got Alpine, which is Renault, you've got Mercedes... And these companies are all making road cars. What they're not doing is trying to make a Formula One car the same as a car which they can sell to everybody else. They're like, it's the pinnacle of the sport. We're going to go crazy with innovation. And part of me wishes that in the cycling world, we would see innovation set free for the top of the sport. And then manufacturers would then perhaps make bikes that were just for like everybody else. You know,
but to caveat that, you look at Iron Man.
Yeah.
There's no bike regulations. They can pretty much go wild.
Yeah.
And so is that where our bike industry is pushing the boundaries of innovation? It's just not in our sport.
Well, yeah, it kind of is. There's elements where I think, or certain niche groups within cycling where you can see that innovation pushed to its limits. And if you love that, I guess you can go look in that area. And if you don't love it, you can go down the slightly more traditional line and go to races like the Tour de France, where they're trying to preserve the sport. Now, I want to see tech progress. What's your sort of thoughts on this?
I don't want to see everyone riding around on Tron bikes.
That is true. So I've got... everyone can share their thoughts on whether they think innovation...
Yeah, let us know in the
should be
comments
pushed
below,
to the max.
100%.
But I've also written myself up a little list of counter-arguments for this, because I didn't want to feel like I'm just making this one-sided. So, counter-arguments for holding back innovation a little bit. You run the risk of pricing out smaller teams if you allow big manufacturers and big teams go wild with innovation. Teams with smaller budgets are maybe going to get left behind. From, say, a viewer's perspective...
Similar to Formula One, actually.
Yeah.
The price, let's call it the price cap.
Yeah. From the viewer's perspective, I'm not sure that allowing innovation to go wild is really going to change the enjoyment you get from watching the bike race. If anything, it could just make it worse because you've got a huge disparity in equipment rather than maybe a small disparity. People might end up just wanting to buy the crazy expensive bikes, which ends up driving prices of bikes up even more, which I don't think is a good thing. It also could drive up the price of bikes across the industry. So say any manufacturer is like, right, we need to now plough tons of money into developing a crazy bike for the World Tour teams. It might be people buying everyday bikes that are basically having to pick up the bill for that, and the prices might have to go up.
I think that these are all interesting points, but the key as well, and I think we can compare it to Formula One, is that you watch Formula One as well to see the innovation.
Yeah, but not everyone wants to see innovation.
It's a difficult one.
I've got my last final counter argument is, if you want to see innovation, there are niche areas of the sport, like you've mentioned, where you can go and see all of that stuff, like the fed recumbent, the land speed records. But what I certainly don't want to see is technology pushed to its limits in mainstream cycling, that it limits people that want to get into the sport
100%.
and reduces the accessibility to people.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
It's a fair point, and it's a good one to end on.
It is.
Let us know in the comment section below what you think. Carbon fibre is a really big argument, and we want to see if you can get involved with it. What are your thoughts on our carbon fibre debate? And do you want to see more innovation, or do you want to see it stick to traditional senses of the word?
Well, let us know in the comment section down below.
Yeah.
Go on, bang the desk once more. Nick's getting upset with banging the desk.
Welcome to Hot and Spicy Tech. Yes, the meal that you love and adhere to, but you're chucking some spicy hot sauce on it.
And bike tech.
There you go.
First up in Hot Tech this week, I want to discuss the revised and updated Hope Lotus bike, which is the Olympic track bike of the Great Britain cycling team, which we're slightly biased on.
This is like an iconic bike of the sport.
Yeah, so it's the bike which the Great Britain cycling team rode to numerous Olympic victories and medals.
Yeah.
But now it's been revised and updated. And this thing looks even more wild than before. Hopefully we've got a few pictures that we can share with you guys. And this is actually a bike, having just been speaking about carbon fibre, that I feel is actually pushing those limits of the technology and what's capable, but somehow sticking to being within the rules. Do you want to know about some of the updates that have been made?
Oh, I think everyone's desperate to see the updates. I mean, what possibly could you update on a bike that was so innovative,
Yeah.
so ahead of its time.
So a lot of the fundamental design characteristics remain the same. You've got this super wide, like fork legs. You've got revised handlebars. The fork legs actually now have a revised trailing edge, which has got like a sawtooth profile on, which is supposed to help improve aerodynamics.
Nice.
The seat post has a weird, funky design where it kinks backwards, splits in an aero hole kind of shape, and then joins back in. You know how the Trek Madone has that A hole?
It's basically to help with the exit of airflow, right?
Yeah, that's the idea behind it. So loads of little tweaks and updates. Far too many to go through each individual bit.
Why have they decided to tweak and update now when you was technically UCI illegal, right?
No, it's all within the rules, but I'll get to that in just a second. Well, actually, I'll tell about it now. So the bikes and equipment which teams want to use at the Paris Olympics next year have to be approved by the UCI, and they have to be used in competition no later than, I think it's about a year before the event, which basically means the Glasgow World Championships now. So this is why you're seeing nations roll out all of their crazy innovations ready so that it can be approved by the UCI.
And practiced.
Yeah. Because they all hold it back because they don't want to give all their secrets away.
Oh, I'm super excited to see this in the flesh.
So there's been over 150 hours of wind tunnel and CFD simulations gone into this bike, and it's made using the same carbon fibre that is used in Lotus's most recent hypercar, which is pretty cool, eh?
Next up is the Reform saddle. Now this, I think, is really cool. You plug it in, it heats up, it heats the elements of the material within the saddle. You sit on it, it cools down, and it molds to where your sit bones are.
Yeah, you've summarised it up perfectly there. I think basically it's a special carbon fibre, because a lot of carbon fibre in this week's show. And the resin, holding it all together, is really sensitive to the heat. So once it reaches the temperature that the heating element's got it to, it becomes really soft and pliable. You ride on it on the indoor trainer, it basically moulds to the underneath of you, and as it cools, it keeps its shape. I think this kind of technology is really impressive, but at the moment, from what I can see on their website, there's only, I think, one or two, like the basic shapes of the saddle. So
But I think that will grow.
that will hopefully
Yeah,
grow.
that will grow. And I think the interesting thing is that, we had these in Bond. Do you remember Bond shoes?
I do, yeah.
Back in the day where you would put them in the oven, you'd mold it to your feet. And it's similar things. What you want to look for is the contact points and make it unique to you. And then you'll have a much more comfortable bike.
Yeah, one of those things that can
Because
really
everyone's
help.
different.
So 197 grams this saddle weighs, priced £280.
Which isn't bad, to be fair.
330 euros. It's in line with proper top spec saddles.
With a carbon saddle.
Yeah, I guess there you go.
Yeah.
More saddle tech next, actually, is from Cell Italia, because they've recently launched a new version of 3 of their existing saddles, and it's called the New Buck series, which means you've got that brown suede material on the top, which I absolutely love the look of. It's available in the SLR, the Flight, and the Novus profile. And what I think is cool, and what Cell Italia is saying is cool about it, is that as you ride and the more you use the saddle, it's going to sort of weather and wear in a sort of the same way as like your favourite pair of leather boots would. So it feels like it's building up a bit of character to it.
I like that.
I do like that. I've actually got one on order.
Yeah.
That's how much I liked it. I was like, hey, get me one of these saddles.
Yeah,
ASAP.
yeah.
But I'm seeing a very slight issue for me using this saddle. I'm renowned for riding right on the nose of the saddle. So the back half is going to stay.
Your saddle forward.
The back half is going to stay looking like brand new, and the front bit is going to look worn
the
out.
two-tone.
Yeah, I'll have a
two-tone saddle.
Yeah.
Let's move on
Yeah.
from saddles to power meters, because
Yeah.
I think everyone wants a power meter. It's pretty like when you don't say.
I would love a power meter. Not everyone.
Well, nowadays I think if you're training, you kind of want to know your power.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take training seriously, power meters are a
Yeah.
good thing. They're a super helpful tool.
Yeah.
Loads of different companies out there that do them. However, 4i is one brand, and they've just recently released a bunch of updates and new versions to their power meters. But one of the updates and things that I found most interesting is the fact that they've teamed up with Apple. And then what they've done is that they've announced what I think is the world's first integration of the Apple Find My technology incorporated into the power meter. So it means you should be able
On
to
your
track...
Apple Watch.
Well, your Apple Watch or any Apple device, you should be able to track where your power meter is and therefore where your bike is, which I think is like a really neat innovation.
Yeah, and I think to be partnered with Apple products.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Is a big deal because everyone uses Apple products, right?
Yeah, so hopefully a good way of keeping your bike secure if the worst thing that happens is maybe someone tries to steal it. Or you lose your bike. Has anyone actually lost a bike before? I don't think they have.
It's quite hard to lose a bike.
Yeah, you can't lose a bike. Okay, then finally hot tech. Neat little thing. I've got 3 of them on here. 1, 2. There's a third.
Yes!
This is
the
a
trail
ride
tool.
wrap. It's a ride wrap trail tool. You've got it. From Peter's. So this is a little device, essentially a Velcro strap with a little roll which you can put some spares and tools in, put it anywhere on your bike, and it's going to be like secure. It's not going to rattle around, and it shouldn't damage your frame.
Which I think is ideal for gravel bikes.
Yeah, it's
road
really cool.
bike.
Well, it's maybe not targeted at road bike, but I think it's a great idea. It's not going to damage your frame. It's waterproof, non-slip Velcro, and it comes in, well, 3 different colours. Present them. There you go. Beautiful. Ka-chow! And then finally in hot tech, not that it's specifically hot tech, but I thought we should mention the epic adventure that you and Si have recently been on.
Yeah, I think we've got a little bit of a quick advert just now. We're riding our bikes to the top of the world.
Look how high we are, mate. Look at that drop. I have never ridden my bike anywhere close to a place like this.
A 2-wheel pilgrimage
Bro!
we'll never forget.
I did find the meaning of life, so that was good.
I just can't believe where we are.
Himalayas, I love you.
We're headed for an ancient city, hidden from the rest of the world.
No man dang, it's there, but it's just not getting any closer.
We have just 5 days to ride 446 kilometers and endure over 11,000 meters of this.
Long climbs are definitely not my forte. Oh, that went from a KOM attempt to survival.
This is the bikepacking trip of a lifetime. Yeah, I mean, it was my favourite, biggest, and I think one of GCN's biggest adventure documentaries that is hit GCN Plus right about now. So if you'd like to see it, then head over to GCN Plus and watch it. And let me know your thoughts, because ultimately it was an absolute life ambition to go to Himalayas and to be able to take a bike there and to be able to ride to a place called Lomantang, which is pretty much cut off from anywhere around the world to get, and it's literally near impossible to get to. But it really opened my eyes to what is capable on a gravel bike. Yeah,
that's kind of crazy. I'm really buzzing about sitting down to watch this. There's so much work gone into it. I think I'm going to reserve a bit of time Saturday evening for it, prime time telly.
There you go. It is prime time, mate.
All right, more hot tech next week. Lovely.
Thank you.
It's now time for comments of the week. This is one of my favourite bits to show, where we pick out the comments that you guys have been leaving underneath our most recent videos, and then, well, we read them out.
It's the beautiful thing about the YouTube platform is that you guys can tell us exactly what you like and what you don't like. Anyway, jumping right in.
Underneath last week's show, Hank, what have we got?
We've got one from Erico XTCO 8037. I just absolutely love that the Bike Vault rules are whatever you decide they are given in the week.
Yeah, we do kind of make it up. No doubt we'll change them slightly in a minute as well, won't we?
Yeah, but I think there's some templates.
There's a little bit of a guide,
there's a little bit of a template rule book there.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
We'll go into later.
DJ Winant says, does GCN have a video on aero versus lightweight? That would be such a good follow-up to last week's
100%.
section. Well, we do have, but perhaps we could revisit the idea and leave absolutely no stone unturned.
Let us know what bikes
we should do it on.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to stick brand to brand, I think. I don't think we can be putting other bikes up against each other. No. I might try it on the new Orca and the Orca Aero.
Yes.
That's the fairest way of doing it.
That's a good shout.
Lightweight
I look forward to seeing that video.
Next up, we have some comments from underneath my dream bike video.
Yeah.
We were just having a quick look at this. Do you like the retro Trek I've got?
I love it.
Good. I'm pleased.
This is also like it reminds me of the old days, the 90s.
Yeah, kind of.
Even though it's kind of 2000, early
Yeah.
2000 bike, but it
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of that traditional cyclist.
All right.
me.
Red Rocker 1055 says GCN needs a channel for regular dude and dudette bikes like this. It's cool to see the black market price kidney bikes, but most of us will never get a chance to ride current super bikes, let alone own one. Which I think is a fair comment. Yeah. Next comment. What we got?
Yeah. Paul has got, I feel like GCN should do a presenter series of each person's dream bike. Love hearing the personal stories and experiences. 100% agree. And I think Alex is going to put that in motion, right? Because I want to do my dream bike.
We can do that if you want to do that. 100%.
Let's make that happen.
Let's make it happen. Underneath Si's Air Road video, where he did Air Road versus Air Road, Percy TP5161 says, love the GCN videos, always full of amazing content, actionable takeaways, and most importantly, the English humour.
Oh, got plenty of it.
Yeah.
Next up, KS Go to IG. I find when I swap the rider on my bike, it not only goes faster, but I also feel less fatigue. Funny that, I have the same issue.
Yeah, you just let someone else ride your bike, don't you?
Suddenly, bang!
Easy.
Yeah, heart rate still stays at 50 BPM.
Send someone else on the bike. And
Yeah,
just chill
yeah,
out
exactly,
home.
yeah.
Right, that's it for comments of the week. It's now time for the bike vault, which is the best bit of the show, in my opinion.
You can ring it.
Oh, that's really kind. To play along on the bike vault, you need to use the GCN app. You can upload a picture of your bike into the vault. Everyone at home can vote either nice or super nice. If it's super nice that we voted it on the show, we ring the bell, and we get to judge. You can play along home. So the most super nice bike from last week is from Richard Oxford, and it was a Canyon Air Road in, how would you describe this colourway? Mint?
Yeah, turquoise mint. Yeah.
So that was the most super nice. Would you agree with that or not?
I mean, I absolutely love the look of that bike, and I also love the picture because it just looks so clean, doesn't
All right.
it?
Oh, I
Clean and fast. That looks fast standing still, I'm not going to
Tell you
lie.
what I've just realised is really good. See the line of that concrete bit?
Yeah.
It matches up with the line of the paint on the frame. See that
Oh,
one?
yeah, that is cool.
Oh, that's good. Like that.
First up this week, we've got, following on from Alex's dream bike, the Trek Madone, once belonged to Jose Luis Ribera. Still has his sticker name on the top tube, full Durace group set and Chris King headset.
Boy, this looks good. What
As
do you think
the
of it?
Pro build. Restored last year and kitted out with Hutchinson Fusion 5 tyres as per the team sponsors of the date. Wow, that's really cool actually. Still has the original Bontrager branded Selle San Marco Sunderland Discovery Team colours. Yes! There
Love
you go.
it. Love this bike.
A proper team bike back from the good old days, as it were.
Yeah. It's not in Biggie Smalls. It's leant up against the wall.
I don't like
Valves
how
are
the
aligned.
hoods are like right up.
You can roll the hoods down.
No, I know, but just in the picture.
I mean, I literally don't give a damn about anything. I'm super nice at it. You gonna super nice it? What do you think? Yeah or nay? Super nice or not?
No, not for me. I just think it could look a lot better.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to. Oh, sorry.
Next one is from Durkan Stock with a fixie track edit. San Diego Velodrome, they say. It's a GT Jelly Bean TT Carbon. What a mouthful.
I remember the Jelly Bean team. We had a UK team that was the Jelly Bean team.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Anyway, about the bike, what do you make of it?
It's not working for me. It's all higgledy-piggledy. You got like orange rims on the front. You've got like yellow. You want to kind of match the saddle and the bar tape, and it's yellow bar tape and white saddle, white bike, and it's just all over the place for me. So
Just enough.
thank you so much for sending it in, but not for me.
Okay. Next one in is from Eric Moen. I have no idea. It's a Van Nichols Thai
Oh,
Zypher
I love that.
2006.
Yeah, that's very... No, that's 2016, mate.
2016.
2006, it would look a lot different. That, for me, I'm going to say super nice. You got tan wall tyres.
Yeah.
It's a very nice, clean-looking build. Biggie Smalls.
Just.
It's doing
okay.
it for me.
Super nice, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Paul Gustine with a Cervelo Soloist next from 2023.
Check out that paint job, though. It's called the Galaxy. I don't know, it's actually called the Galaxy, but I feel like it should
You
be.
just named it.
Yeah.
All right. I do like the bike. I love the fact it's got a Campagnolo on it because we don't see tons of bikes with Campagnolo.
Should I tell you what would make this bike slightly better? If it had white saddle, white bar tape, link it in with Cervelo, and then the black rims and the Tamble type, that, for me, that would just do it.
Sort of half in, it looks like it's half in a cornfield
Yeah.
as well.
Oh yeah, I think that's quite cool.
Well, nice or super nice?
Bit of texture.
I'm going just nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just nice.
I think with a white saddle, it could be super nice.
Okay, Peter Corsten with a custom-made air road bike from a local shop. Painting was done according to his own design. It's Pedal Ritter. Can't say I'm familiar with that brand.
I have never heard of the Pedal Ritter.
I'm not sure that. I think that's just the name. I don't think it's like a brand name.
Do you know what it has got though? Is the GCN Big Italian Race
The
inspired
big Italian race bottles.
bottles.
That alone, I think, should warrant this. That was it. That was the last bike in this week's Bike Vault.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sending in your bikes. Don't forget, if you want to be admitted into the
Bike
Bike Vault for next show, then make sure you get your bikes up there. Don't forget the rules, all right? The crank is at 9 o'clock.
You don't even know the rules.
Valves facing. And white bars, white bar tape, white saddle. End off.
Cool. All right. Thanks for coming along. I've had a wonderful time.
I have too. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, hit the thumbs up button and leave us a nice comment, right?
Yeah, be kind to us.
Yeah.
Right. See ya.
It's been a long week.